What? Tell me about you, Tim.
Tell me about me. That's a deep story. So I grew up outside Philadelphia as a little kid in a family of 8. And actually, that's a little bit where my cycling started, because my parents weren't going to take us everywhere we wanted to go. So I rode my bike all over the place. I mean, all the time. And I did that a lot as a little kid. Kept me in good shape, to be honest with you. My mom gave me a gift when I graduated college. That was my first bike. It was a cross bike. They used to call them cross bikes instead of the gravel bikes thing, where you could just literally change out the tires and have a road bike or a gravel bike. And once college hit, and I got married after college, and we have 2 kids, and I stopped riding. I didn't ride very much. And the bike just sat in my garage. Every place we moved, I kept bringing the bike, which was really, really funny. And because I wasn't very active, I gained a lot of weight. I mean, I was at the peak of maybe right at the beginning of COVID, when everybody was staying home and eating bad food. I got up to about 275 pounds. Wow. So I was pretty heavy. And
but you're doing good.
Well, I'm doing better now. But one day this was, I don't know what year that was. It would have been 2020. In 2020, I was scrolling through my Facebook. This is right before, well, a few months before COVID. January 2020. I was scrolling through Facebook, and I saw a friend of mine who posted, I was living in Tyler, and this was a guy who was a local radio host. He posted kind of a joke that he had a friend who needed a kidney. And he said, anybody got one? And in that moment, I literally heard like a voice
Pitching, right?
Going, Tim, that's you. And I was like, nah. I actually, in that moment, I turned around because I thought somebody said it. That's how out loud and audible that voice was.
Wow.
I'm a deeply spiritual man, so now I attribute it to the voice of God. Like, I literally heard the voice of God. And I ignored it for about a month. I was like, what is this? No, that's weird. Who would do that? Why? But literally, I would turn on the TV, I'd hear about a kidney. I all the time, non-stop, I'd hear all these crazy kidney stories. And about a month later, we were at an event that was talking about generosity, and they were playing videos. And I'll never forget, one of the videos they put on showed a lady with her arm, and the video started with her arm over the bed with a hospital thing. And it was about donation of some sort. I think it was an organ, like a liver donation or something. And immediately I heard that same voice saying, what is taking you so long? And so I stopped watching the video. I scrolled back through Facebook, found this post, and said, hey, is this still something that's needed? That day he messaged me back, gave me a phone number for a lady. I picked up the phone the next day and called this lady that I didn't even know. And I said, this was really funny. I said, hey, I think I have 2 kidneys. I hear you need one. I'd be willing to give you one. And she was speechless on the other end. Like, she couldn't even talk. I could hear she was kind of crying. And, who are you? Like, why would you do this? Like, what in the world? So she told me about her hospital was UT Southwest here in Dallas. And so I called them. And the first question that the nurse asked me on the other end was, how much do you weigh? And as a normal guy, you don't weigh yourself all the time. So I was like, oh, I don't know, 250. And she says, well, you have to weigh 245 pounds in order to
Yeah.
to donate a kidney. So I'm like, oh, that'll be no problem. I'll drink a bunch of water, not eat for a couple days, and
Yeah.
be able to lose the weight. Well, I jumped on a scale that day, and I was more than 250.
Okay.
So I couldn't lose weight as quickly as I wanted to. Then COVID hit, so I was gaining weight.
Uh-huh.
And a big part of this story, UT Southwest sent me a letter. So a couple of months had passed. They sent me a letter that rejected me, that said, you can't donate a kidney. It's taken you too long. You weigh too much. You haven't done the thing. And I got really mad. Like, I was like, God told me to donate a kidney.
And who are you? And make me
how can
not-
they tell me that I
make me
can't?
did-
Like, I wasn't mad at them. I was mad at me. Because I hadn't taken care of my body enough to be able to donate a kidney. So I remember, like, a day or two after that, I woke up one morning, I turned to my wife and I said, I'm going for a bike ride today because I have to lose weight. So I went into the garage, made sure the tires weren't dry rotted, found my pump, pumped it up, and I lived like right down from a trail in Tyler. So I went for a ride on the trail, which was not a long ride. I mean, I'm talking 5 miles, maybe. And I came back. I rode there, took a break in the middle, got more water, rode back. It was the slowest ride I've ever done, way out of shape. I come in to the house and I lay down in the living room and I'm just, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. And I knew that I had to go the next day, just keep going the next day. So I got up the next day and rode again. And I started losing weight fast. I joined Noom, the app that tracks your food and things, and I started changing what I was eating, and I lost weight fast. I mean, I'm talking like a pound a day.
Lost weight just for the try to donate your...
Just to donate it. And so I start losing enough weight. I get to the 245. I go in for the blood work. Everything looks good. And they ultimately tell me that I'm a match for this
really?
lady, which is crazy.
Wow.
Like, it's so random to be a match. Usually people,
even though you want to donate,
Yeah.
you have to like...
right, you have to go through a lot, and it's more than blood work. There's all these markers, and usually people who donate a kidney donate it to a family member because you're a closer match. But I knew I would be a match the moment I heard that voice. I just knew this is going to work out.
The funny story of mine is like my dad's smoking a lot. So when he I actually told him, like if you need to replace something, it's not gonna be me, right?
Yeah.
Because the my dad is smoking a lot, and he's not really taking care of his body,
Right.
and he cannot really tell me to give me your organ. But even me, like donating obviously my dad giving me my body, right? But I still don't wanna, go through, donation, right? But you are basically like donating to a person that you don't even know.
Didn't even know her.
Wow.
And really, that's because, I mean, I wouldn't have done that unless I heard that voice. I mean, it's so random.
Yeah. And like,
It's random.
well, like you heard it, but also like matching. That's impressive.
Here's where it gets even crazier. So I find out, the hospital calls me and tells me that I'm a match. They didn't tell her. So I get to call her. So I pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm just calling to tell you I just finished with all the testing and I got news that we're a match. She starts crying again, and she says that she had to pull over on the side of the road. And I said, oh, well, where are you? And she said she was in Tyler, and she was literally down the street from where I live. So I said, oh, I'm on my way home. I'll stop by and meet you. So this is the first time I'm going to meet her. I'll never forget that hug when I met her. I pull up, and she had a whole bunch of bumper stickers on the back of her car that were cat stickers, and I'm like, I'm nervous. So the first thing I say is, "Oh, you're a cat lady." Like, she's a cat lady.
Yeah.
And she gives me a hug that I've never been hugged like that. You know, you get hugged by your parents all the time when you're a little kid.
Right.
You get hugged by your wife. This was not a sexual hug at all.
Yeah,
I mean, it was just
deep, you know.
deep.
Yeah, deep love.
Held on for a long time from a lady I don't even know, right? So we end up meeting there. We talk for a little bit, and come to find out, she literally lived 5 doors down from me. Like, she was a neighbor of mine. I had never seen her. She said she walked a bunch in the neighborhood, but I had never seen her out. And she was home a lot because she was on dialysis.
Yeah.
And so she was having this, and just wiped. So
Yeah.
she was at home a lot. And so we end up meeting there. I end up being a match for her. I keep losing weight. I ended up, the day that I went into the hospital, which was January 2021, I did 200 straight days of riding my bike.
Wow.
I lost 75 pounds. So
Holy.
I was 200 pounds. Best shape of my life when I went in to donate a kidney. And it was a very easy thing to do. Meaning physically. Like, my body, I can't believe that you can give a kidney away and like change nothing. I have to watch how much protein I eat, but I don't have to watch crazy.
Do you have to watch your weight now?
But not crazy.
Yeah.
Just have to be careful. There are some medicines, like I've got a upper respiratory infection, and they told me don't take Vicks, you know, the NyQuil or anything like that, because it's got something in it that it makes your kidney work harder. But I've noticed absolutely no change in that.
What's your wife said about that donation? I know you also have a son.
So when I didn't tell my wife about the first time I heard the voice, but the second time she was with me. So the video plays, I'm scrolling through, I message the guy, and we turn around to the table, and we're supposed to talk about what we saw in the video. And I had a bunch of friends at the table with me, so it was just a bunch of us. And I turned around, my wife was sitting next to me, and I said, well, to be honest with you, what I heard in that video was, I need to donate a kidney. And my wife's like, everybody at the table looks at her.
Yeah.
And is like, what do you think? And she's like, well, if God's telling him to do it, he's got to do it. And that was the first time that she heard that. Which is I get teared up even now thinking about it. I mean, it was the number one question that people ask me when they know that I donated a kidney is, who in your family did you donate to? Which this was a complete stranger.
Yeah.
And the second one is, my wife would never let me do that, or my husband would never let me do that.
Right.
And my wife's first response was, yeah, he needs to do that. So that is extremely rare, and I'm extremely grateful that she'd even say, yes, go ahead and do it. So I did sit down with the family. I kind of called the kids, and a little bit later in that process, and you know, part of the problem is if any of them needed a kidney, well, I can't donate it anymore. Later in life, we always joke, my son is always sick. He's got some physical issues. And so we've always joked, like, he's going to be the one who needs a kidney, but I can't. I've already donated mine to a complete stranger. I had to really wrestle with that. But I went back to, it's something God told me to do, so I figured if my son Jackson needs a kidney, God will tell somebody else to give him one. and he'll take care of that. So
But he's okay.
He's fine.
Yeah.
He's fine for now, today, in this moment. But you never know. So it's pretty wild how that worked out.
So that's actually make you into the cycle.
Yeah. I joined in Tyler. I started riding a bunch, so I'd ride on the trails, and then I started, outgrowing the trails.
When did I start to riding with you?
Okay, so then we moved here. How long ago? It's been almost a year. So yeah, because I started working maybe a little under a year, so about 10, 11 months ago. And so we moved to Frisco, and since riding was such a big part, I'm like, where do I go ride? And that's how I found FCC and STCC, which is a mouthful to say. But I just started showing up at rides to try to figure out what's it like riding around here. Tyler has a great cycling community, but it's smaller, so there aren't a ton of options. You go on the ride and you have people ranging from A to D on that ride. Here in Frisco, you got A, B, C, D. And I didn't even know what that meant.
Yeah.
I'm like, should I do this? My first ride that I did in Frisco was with, and I don't think Shane will remember it, Shane Sterrett's ride up out of Academy. I don't even remember what it's called. That was the first ride I did.
Okay.
I think it's like the Los Gringos, all those guys.
Locos.
Yeah.
Yes.
I showed up one night and was like, let me go with them. It was fast.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. But I stayed with them. But it was fast for me. And I don't know when our first ride was. It would have been an STC ride.
STCC.
Yeah.
Probably.
I would assume.
Yeah. Probably John Lee's ride.
Yeah. But what I like, in Frisco, you can pretty much ride in the morning or evening and find a ride.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which is
this
great.
community, everybody is crazy about cycling.
I feel safer cycling in Frisco than I did on back roads in Tyler.
Really?
The back roads in Tyler, a random vehicle, just one, not paying attention, can really cause you a problem. Here, I feel like all the cars move over. They're used to seeing cyclists on the road, so it feels safer.
Because the lot of driver is also cyclists, and looks like the STCC and FCC and Clever, the group, they're actually putting a lot of effort for the communities that make it cyclists safe, right?
Yeah, I agree.
They told us a lot of police to how to make things better, and looks like they're donating a lot of things for the police, like bike rags.
Right. It is nice.
Yeah,
it's good. So I love doing those weekly rides. I'm also more of a, I don't know. I ride for probably two reasons. One is fitness, but the other is people. I just love meeting new people, riding with people. Yesterday's ride that we rode together where other people joined us that I knew, and I literally knew everybody on that pack that we did. It was great.
Yeah.
It was so exciting just to be in that environment and know all those people that I would have never known had I not started riding. That part's fun. But I also like kind of adventure riding. I'm more of a distance guy than a race guy. I tried my first race this year at Where was that? You should have done. The Rebel. Oh no, what was it? It was up there at. I don't know what it was.
You text me, I'll put it.
But
in
I
the
wasn't.
description.
I wasn't very good. I finished it. I got dropped off the pack after the first lap, right at the first lap. I didn't mind it, but
Well.
it was hot. I like going far. So I think part of what my goal is every year is I like to ride my furthest ride between Christmas and January. So this past Christmas I rode 130 some miles. Straight, 130 miles. So I'm aiming towards a 200 miler. Like I want to go 200 miles, just in one day. Probably as a group ride would be preferred, but I just like distance and getting miles in underneath your belt. Pushing your body towards doing something more. I get to do crazy rides. Like I ride a ride every year in Colorado because I have a friend there. So this year I'm doing triple bypass. Last year, I did triple bypass. This year I did Copper Triangle. This year's triple bypass.
What's the long distance ride is like the coming up? Is it hotter than hell?
Yeah, hotter than hell. I'm doing that one this year.
Oh, yeah?
I couldn't do it last year. My daughter was graduating who was graduating? My son or somebody? Somebody was graduating, so they were in the way. Or it couldn't have been graduation. I don't know what was in the way. Something family.
Yeah.
So I'm doing hotter than hell. I'm doing the rag ride, the ride across Iowa this year. I like those kind of rides where they're just crazy. Like, who does that? That's a lot of fun for me. Just being around it a little bit makes it unique and interesting. So
Gotcha.
I like doing those. That's really good, by the way. I'm impressed with this place.
Yeah, you found this place.
LDU Coffee.
Yeah. It's not sponsored.
And tea, right? Yeah. I don't know what this is. They don't know what it means either.
Yeah, that's right.
That's crazy. Now I'm sitting here thinking one of the other things that I've honestly struggled with is riding too much. Where I have a very addictive personality, where I can be addicted to anything.
Yeah.
I'm all in. So in order to bike, I've had to. I've moved my finances around so that I could bike and support that and buy kits, and, do all that stuff. And I'll never forget one day I sat down, I was hearing some rumblings from my family of like, you're addicted to cycling. And I mean, in one way that could be a really good thing, but in another, I was moving everything around my cycling.
Yeah.
And so I just asked the family one day, I said, hey, do you think I'm addicted to cycling? And they all responded. Before I even finished the sentence, they were like, yes. And I asked them, I said, well, why do you say that? And I feel like it's a good thing, so why are you saying it from a negative perspective? And it was funny because we attend church all the time on Sundays. And never late, never missed, that kind of thing. And during COVID, they were doing video services and things, and I was late to the video service because I was out riding a bike, right? Which I didn't think was a big deal. But my son said to me, he goes, Dad, you've never been late to church before, but ever since you started cycling, you've been late 3 times, like 2 times in a row. And he said, it's too much. It's getting in the way of everything. And so I committed then that I wouldn't go on that particular ride anymore, and started adjusting how much I was doing, just to try to monitor, so I wasn't too much into just cycling. That was hard. hard to hear, and then hard to react to. But there have been people all along the way that just have supported me in my cycling. I mean, that first bike that I had, my word, I shouldn't have been riding it. I was trying so hard. I mean, it was aluminum frame, heavy. And I'm starting to ride with these guys who are fast.
Yeah. Oh, this guy's crazy fast.
Yeah, we were like, if he had the right bike, he would be able to keep up with us. We could use him, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So one day before Christmas break, one of those guys, Bill Lewis, he runs the bicycle club in Tyler. He was the guy on the mic yesterday. He shows up in my office with a carbon fiber bike that I ride now.
Yeah.
And says, here, you need to start riding this. Literally just told me to see you next week, you know, kind of thing. That was the best bike. I would never have bought that bike. I mean, it's older, but he got a new one, and it was the second one. He's like, go ride. That. I mean, that took my game.
It's like a game changer right there.
But I would never have been able to buy that.
Yeah,
my wife and kids would have been like...
Yeah, it's really expensive.
But that was a cool way that God provided for me to keep cycling.
You provide kidney.
Yeah. Get a bike.
Provide your bike.
Yeah, there it is. That works. Hey, it worked.
Yeah. I'm glad you enjoying it. Like,
I love it.
Out, like cycling, almost like every ride.
I love it. I've been traveling more than I normally do, and I'm hoping that's going to end here in a little bit. Because I would ride often. I just like it. I like riding with different groups, trying different groups. I went and rode with the guys down in Grapevine a couple of times just to ride with them. Of course, it gets a little squirrely with some of those guys that you don't know. You're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But it's just fun. You get to see more people and learn more people. And to me, that's fun.
Did you do anything else than cycling? Just cycling.
Prior to cycling, it's kind of funny you say that. Prior to cycling, I was part of this, I don't even know what it's called. It was a group of guys that we would work out together. The problem was someone in that group would get hurt every 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, you'd have somebody hurt, then they're out for 2 to 3 weeks, wait for them to come back. With cycling, I've had no injuries. You know, my knees aren't killing me. Every once in a while when you get your fit off, you know, you got to tweak that, but it's not been anything that's been hard to do. I mean, it's hard physical work, but I haven't been hurt doing it, which is
good.
It's great.
It's keep it that way.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I did have a crash early on. I rode over a guy in Tyler, and that was tough, but nothing happened to me or the bike, and I'm thankful for that. But I was hit once with a side mirror. Somebody who wasn't paying attention. That was the last time I rode by myself. I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. It's just too scary. And I think right after that, I bought the radar for the back of the bike to make sure that, you know, I can kind of at least know somebody's coming. And I haven't had any problems since then. So.
Do you have any fit goals?
You know, it's funny you even asked that, because not really, I think, is the easy answer. I used to, I had such a weight goal, and I hit it and exceeded it, that I'm just kind of in a place where I'm resting in that for a little bit. That's been a little while. I probably do. I want to lose some more weight. I think I'd get faster if I lost more weight. But I haven't been as intentional about my eating as I need to be in order to do that. So I don't really have a goal towards that. but probably should. But I enjoy where I'm at with cycling and things. I think if I started taking my weight more seriously, I'd probably go into racing a little bit just to try it and see if I could help the team be better. I don't know if I necessarily want to be the guy that win every week, but because I don't know that I'm chasing that. I enjoy people more than racing, winning, being first. I want to make sure everybody's on the rides having a great time and enjoying the ride. I love it. Thanks for asking, and thanks for doing this.
Yeah,
that's a lot of fun to see everybody.
Yep.
So, all right. Keep it up.
Keep it up. All right. Thank you.
I'll see you in the